Nathan, how does it feel to be playing final, especially after last year?
Yeah, look, it's really exciting for the playing group, and I guess it's healthy to remind ourselves of how it's come in 12 months' time, but also to remind ourselves too of all the hard work we've put in. And I guess as we were speaking about earlier, we've put in all the hard work this year, got the results, and now it starts from square one again. The final series starts with 7 other hungry teams, and it's a matter of us making sure that this week we attack game 1 against Sydney as best we can.
Brenton, you've created an opportunity that many thought wasn't probably going to come this year. Mm-hmm. How do you make sure you make the most of it rather than just say it was this year, but we still have greater ambitions at another time?
It's a good call because this group's been up for a long time. Like these players, I mean, they've been tremendous all season, but not just that. Since the first day of pre-season, which is in late October last year, these boys have been going flat out, and to win the NAB Cup, to have a 17-5 record at the end of the home and away season, and put yourself in a position to challenge for a premiership by finishing second on the ladder, is just a great reward for how hard these boys have worked. But I'll tell the boys, haven't seen them yet since the match, but that doesn't count for anything. All the hard work we've put in doesn't mean anything unless we play well in September, and it's just a different feel now. It's 18 clubs goes down to 8. We all start on 0 wins, and we fight as hard as we can to get to that last Saturday in September. So we think we're well prepared, and but there's another 7 teams there who are desperate as us. So we've just got to make sure we do everything we possibly can to win on the weekend.
Follow up on that, Nathan. You've lived it where you had those 05, 06 seasons where you just burnt the park down, and then it didn't count for anything at the end. So how do you learn from that?
I guess for senior players, we've learned a lot from that you've got to make the most of your opportunities when you get them, and it's a tough one trying to convey that message to some of our younger players. But all that we can do, as Sando mentioned, is put ourselves in the best possible position and believe that we're well prepared, and we certainly do believe that we're in a great spot at the moment. So it's a matter of making the most of the opportunities that present themselves over the next hopefully month of footy for us. So it starts this weekend, which is going to be a huge challenge for the playing group against Sydney, which is going to be a really contested game of footy, which is what we've done so well this year. So it's going to be a great contest.
Nathan, has it bothered you that most of the season, most clubs, most people in the state haven't rated the Crows? And even when you beat Sydney early in the season, the talk was, how Sydney was unlucky to lose it rather than how good Adelaide played to win it. As a captain, does it bother you?
Not at all. No, there's a firm belief within the playing group, and that's what counts most is how we deal with expectations internally, and what we I suppose believe in our game plan and believe in each other, and the performances that we've been able to put forward throughout the year have only grown that belief. So it puts us in a position now where we're very confident of what our best footy looks like.
Just following on from that, Brenton, I mean, given your list profile, how do you go about managing the expectation and the hype in Adelaide? Because the younger fellas that haven't played finals, you can't go into a cafe, buy the newspaper, or a petrol at the station without getting pumped with the whole vitriol on the bill.
It's a good point, because this is why we play footy. To play football in September is the ultimate for any young player or any AFL player, and there's going to be 10 teams watching the next 4 weeks, and part of that is you have to enjoy it, and part of that is absorbing a certain amount of the enjoyment that goes with playing in September. But at the same time, each player has to prepare themselves almost a different way individually, so they get the best out of themselves on the Saturday when it counts. So some players will absorb all of that, they'll love it. They'll actually walk towards the ultimate prize, whereas others will treat it very much like it's just another game. The oval's the same size, they've still got goalposts each end, still use a red ball, that sort of stuff. Players will approach it very differently, so we've got to make sure that we find out what it takes to get our 22 that play in the best mental and physical shape to play well on Saturday.
We've seen at the Com Games and with other elite events recently, like social media, some people fall victim to it, some get distracted, others don't. Are you thinking about maybe reining that in a little bit? Because obviously, like all generation that you've got, they're all right into it.
Yeah, it's certainly a small part of it. I'll say it again though, what's really important is that our players prepare themselves so at 2:30 on Saturday that they're just ready to go. Other players will get into the social media, and they'll certainly read the newspapers, and they'll watch every footy show just to sort of absorb themselves in that build-up. Others will certainly stay away from that and not lock themselves in a dark room, but they'll certainly stay away from any sort of distractions that come along with September. The key for us as coaches is to find that healthy balance for our group. So inside the four walls here, we'll certainly prepare our players as best we can to play well. But part of that ownership of their own form comes with preparing themselves so they play well on Saturday.
Brenton, after the game, I know you said Vincent Walker would be okay, they play, they train today. Are you satisfied they're 100% good to go?
Yeah, both those boys are fit and ready to go. We're really fortunate that we've got a full squad to pick from this week, so we probably haven't got an injury that's going to hold us back. So what a great position to be in at match committee this week. It's certainly going to provide a few headaches for us, but at the same time we'll pick a balanced team, side that we think is going to play well against the Swans, but also too we'll structure up a team that gives us the best chance of winning.
I know on the other side of the ground you could probably see a couple of thousand fans lining up, buying tickets. How exciting to see that?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's great for our fans, to go from a season last year where they won 7 and then, or I should say we won 7, to go to winning 17 this year. Great to see the fans lining up for tickets. I know it's a bit slower than what they hoped as well, but they've just got to be patient, understand that it's a bit out of our hands. The AFL take over now when it comes to allocation of tickets through finals. So our members get a chance today, general public get tickets tomorrow. So I just really hope we get a full crowd here and a lot of support, and I know our crowd will love every second of it.
Brenton, when you talk about structuring up, you had a real gamble last time in Sydney. Ricky Henderson on Adam Goods, no one would have imagined it. Are you comfortable with a young player on him again?
Oh yeah, we are. Yeah, Adam Goods is a great player. I mean, 2 Brownlow medals, 350 games, whatever he's played. But he's one part of a really good Sydney Swans outfit. They got hardness inside, they got speed outside. They've had some players who have had terrific seasons. So we'll have to be at our best to beat them. At the same time, they'll be looking at us thinking Sam Jacobs in the ruck, Dangerfield, Thompson, Sloan, Van Berlo through the midfield with Matty Wright, Douglas. We've got some great depth through our midfield too. We've got some defenders in form, so it's going to be a really great game. It's going to be it's how September should be. The second best team versus the third best team should be a cracker.
I know you do dance cards with forwards. There's not ever one, but in terms of Goods, is it better to go Rutten first up, or do you hand it to someone else?
I haven't looked that far ahead, to be honest. We're still in the review process from the Gold Coast game, but from about 3 o'clock today, we'll be straight into the Swans. So we'll have a look at how they've structured up against us in the past, but also too what their makeups look like over the last sort of 2 or 3 weeks. And they'll probably get Reid back this week as well, which makes it a little bit harder for us. But I'm sure we'll put out a good side this week and a side that'll really compete.
Just on that, Brenton, how close in your mind are you to having an idea who the 22 will be for you on the weekend?
No, still a fair way off, to be honest. We'll have match committee on Wednesday afternoon. We'll finalise the team at about 3 o'clock on Thursday. So until then, there'll be a lot of speculation, but we'll certainly get Walker and Vince back. Who comes out and who plays the sub, all those sort of things we'll have to discuss further as coaches later in the week.
Is it more challenging that the game, the last one was in May, but there's a long gap?
Not so much, no. I mean, that was a great game. We still did a lot of things wrong that night. I think at times, you walk away with a win in Sydney and you think we played really well, but we still had a lot of room for improvement on that night. And looking back in reflection, we still did a lot of things wrong, but pinched the game almost. So yeah, Sydney would probably come down here with a fair bit of confidence, thinking that they should have beaten us that night. But I think we have improved a lot since then as well.
How long have you been looking at Sydney? Because from the outside, it looked always that you guys would be 2 and 3 after you lost to Brisbane. Have you guys really been looking at Sydney more than the other two?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, to be honest, we have. We've had a look at sort of Hawthorn, Collingwood, Sydney, West Coast in, I guess, more depth than the other sides in the last sort of 5 or 6 weeks. But certainly our focus from a opposition analysis point of view has been on Sydney for the last sort of 2 weeks.
When you play 1v2 contested ball, let's say it breaks down 50-50 on that, tackling becomes an even bigger issue.
Yep.
And where do you reckon your guys are with that?
Yeah, we need to improve on tackling, but you're right. It's a great advertisement for this weekend's game. The number 1 and number 2 contested ball sides going head to head. It's going to be on.
What have you thought of your tackling recently?
It can always improve. Can always improve.
Is it a key focus for you this week?
It'll be a focus amongst many, but yeah, we missed a few tackles on the weekend. It's probably been an area that we're still not satisfied with throughout the entire season. So we'll have to be at our tackling best to prevent the Swans. But it's one area amongst many that we need to get better at.
How do you handle that as players, though? How do you reminder that you do have to tackle well? And there's always that memory of one year when we went into a final with a big focus on it and you gave away far too many free kicks.
Oh, that memory's well and truly gone from the current playing group. But I guess in terms of the messages that come from the coaches, and we do a thorough review process early in the week, which we've done all year, so it'll be no different this week. We'll address some issues that we can improve on from the weekend, and albeit whether it be tackling or whether it be our defensive pressure, whatever it comes to be, that we'll make sure we address it on the training track and look to rectify it for the weekend, because we know that obviously that the game goes to a new level this weekend, and we need to be as best prepared as we can be.
Nathan, this is, I think, your 6th finals campaign as a player. Is it the best prepared group you've been a part of?
Oh, it's hard to say. I guess I was reflecting the other day. My first 2 years at the footy club, I was only 18, 19 years old, so it was all a bit of a blur to me. And I guess I came away thinking from that getting to the finals was an easy experience. We played in 2 prelims, and it didn't occur to me how much of an opportunity we had there until I saw our players moving on and the list redeveloping. So it's hard for me to recall on those periods, but I certainly know, with the adversity that the playing group's been through over the last 18 months prior to this year, that we've really hardened up and matured as a group together, which I think is important. And the performances that we've been able to put forward this year only builds that belief that I've been talking about within the playing group, and I think it holds us in good stead come this time of year. So it's a level playing field now, but we'll attack it with everything that we've got.
Brenton, you've played a lot of young players this year. When you come to pick a side, do you look at the experience over youth, or do you look at physical attributes over skill?
We certainly turn it upside down. We look at all those things, and you're right. It's sometimes you debate an experienced player over a young player, but our boys and the 38 players we've played this year, one of our strong points has been we can just win contests, where I think we can pick any one of those 38 guys that have played this year and be confident that they would give us that. They would give us a contest. So we'll sort of have a look at the side. It is quite settled at the moment, even though we bring Walker and Vince back. It does feel quite settled. So I don't think there'll be too many sort of wholesale changes to the team going through September. But there's always someone that surprises you too, and we spoke about that after the game on the weekend. There's going to be someone who just stands up in September. A young player or an experienced player that you just goes to another level, and that's through history as well. So it's hard to identify who that's going to be. Some players just love the bigger stage, and some players really embrace the extra pressure and the anxiety that goes with September. But we'll have to wait and see who that's going to be.
Brenton, what about you? How do you view it? You've obviously been here in a different role, clearly, with Geelong, and you're obviously a senior coach in your own right now. What's your approach? What's your feeling personally about what lies ahead for the next month?
Really excited. I mean, this is seriously why we coach, and this is why we play. The whole summer and the home and away season is for this moment, and that can sometimes bring with it an enormous amount of expectations and anxiety, but this is why we play. 8 teams, cutthroat now, only one winner at the end. It's why we play sports, why we play footy, and I just can't wait. This next month is just is so much fun, and we have to enjoy it. But at the same time, we understand there's a lot of hard work and a lot of heartache ahead for the 8 teams. But I love now everyone the next 4 weeks is going to tell us why we can't do it. But we've got to get out there and show people that we can do it.
So I take it you won't be locking yourself away in a dark room?
Oh no. This is what we love. This is, for me. This is as good as it gets, and to finish the home and away season second and prepare our players ready for a game where, you know, the prize for this week's game is I mean, we know what it is. We don't have to tell the players. We don't have to tell you guys. But this game means everything to us this week.
Brent, from the outside, it looks like you've accelerated where this list should be. How long is that window open for you now?
Oh, hard to say. I haven't even thought about that, Rich. It's one of the ones. I mean, sometimes I get the credit, but gee, the players. It's been player-driven, you know, and I've got a great support network around me with coaches and staff. But these boys want to win. These boys are. They're a great group to coach because they are so desperate for success. And like I said, people are going to tell us this week and the next week and the week after why we can't do it. But we'll be looking to prove some people wrong.
But you see a growth factor for every year coming on from here because it is a young list that you are starting out fresh again.
Yeah, you shouldn't get seduced by that either as well, though. You shouldn't say, because we're 20, because we're such a young list and our age profile is the third youngest in the competition outside of the expansion teams, you shouldn't just assume, like Nathan said before, that every year we're going to get better and better and better, because you just don't know. You just don't know how things end up with injuries or players leaving or players coming in. You just got to make the most of your opportunity right now. Finishing second on the ladder won't happen every year for us. We've just got to. There's a great opportunity here now for this team, and like I've said, I mean, why not us? Why not this team?
No,
Just following on from the support group you got around you, have, like you did last year at Geelong, coming here, pulled out of the coach's box. I'm not saying anything that extreme just yet, but have any of your underlings given you the courtesy heads up they might have been spoken to by Paul?
No, I haven't spoken to those boys about that. But as far as I know, I don't think any contact's been made with our coaches yet.
Nathan, during the season, amongst the players, was there a time when you all thought, hey, we are a chance to, get this far? Was there a turning point in the season for you?
I guess there probably was when we realised that our best is certainly good enough, and that was the period where we had 5 or 6 tough games, I think from about round 5 or 6 onwards, when we started with the showdown, went to Sydney away, had, I think, Collingwood, Freo away. We had a few, a good 6 weeks of tough footy there, and we held up really well throughout that period. So I guess that, gave confidence to the playing group, and no doubt the coaches as well, that our game style holds up against the best sides, and that we're able to sustain it for weeks on end. And to the boys' credit, we're able to finish off the year well as well. So that I suppose gives us further belief in what we're doing.
Brendan, are you comfortable with video review, particularly for this final series?
For score,
Yeah, particularly after what you saw yesterday, where the ball wasn't touched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's important in finals that we get the decisions right. I know we've had a couple of grand finals where there's been some mistakes made, but yeah, I'm happy. It's probably the lowest thing on my care factor at the moment, though. But I'm happy they're doing it. Yeah, exactly. Until it might cost us a game. Yeah.
In terms of making the most of your opportunities, and you talk about difficulties in conveying that to the younger guys. How exactly do you do it?
It's a hard one to actually do, and I guess people can talk about it as much as you like. Players can relay stories to you, but I guess as coaches and players, we've just got to try and paint the picture that you've got to make the most of opportunities when you get them. And I guess for such a young group to go through a difficult period last year helps somewhat paint that picture, because they know what it looks like and how hard it is to turn things around, and that success doesn't just come to you. So we'll try and tell the young guys that they've got to make the most of it, and hopefully they can embrace that. But I suppose at the end of the day it comes up to each individual, and hopefully they respond to that.
Do you feel that negative note that can come from the outside spins into a positive way inside, like Brendan's saying?
In what sense?
You keep telling us we can't win, but we will. Do you feel it that way?
Oh, look, it's we as a playing group, we haven't bought into what's been said externally at all throughout the year, and I guess it'll be no different from us moving forward from here. So if someone says you can't do it throughout life, you love proving them wrong. So I guess this will be no different for the playing group.
Are you helping the younger guys that haven't had any finals experience? How do you help them through that?
I guess as Sando alluded to before, it's been a lot of talking about, how do you like to approach the bigger games. They may not have played in a final series, but they hear about all the hype around what the game looks like and how the tempo picks up. Do they want to talk about it? If they do, then senior guys can have a chat to them, coaches can have a talk to them. If they want to just go about their business as usual, then we'll respect that as well, but try and help them through the lead up to the game as well. So it's a matter of, I suppose, just asking and talking to them about it. And I suppose the boys have been pretty open with how they feel about the upcoming games, so it's just a matter of sticking together now.
Brenton, through your journey, who's given you the best example of how to handle, like you say, there's going to be a group that has different agendas in their own mind as how they want to handle it. Who do you seem to handle it best, and how can you take that here?
Well, the obvious answer is myself, because I didn't handle big games well, and I've been honest with our playing group, and I played over 200 games, but I let the big games get to me too much. So I've been honest with the playing group and tried to help the ones that are feeling anxious about the expectations and what's important on these big matches to talk about it. And that might be to me, it might be to the skipper, it might be to another coach, about how you're playing your role doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go above and beyond just playing your role on match day is. So sometimes young players in particular think they have to be best on ground for the team to win, but it's really narrowing your focus to just playing your role and what that might be on a Saturday. So what Scott Thompson's role is very different to what Daniel Talia's role is. So Thompson's best game on Saturday looks very different to what Daniel Talia's best game looks like on Saturday. So it's important that they talk about it. I'm honest with them about my experiences, and we've got Camporelli, who's played in premierships, Milburn, obviously Mark Bickley. Dean Bailey's coached in grand finals. So it's all about speaking to coaches, speaking to players, trying to understand what it takes to get the best out of individuals on these big games.
So are you searching out yourself as well this time?
Yeah, it's important for me too that I learn as senior coach as well, but I've said it a lot lately. I've got really good support around me, so my focus is on getting the best out of these boys on Saturday, but I've got a great team around me.
Brendan, when do you last one things to be worried about Sydney? Obviously they've been finals regulars for quite a few years. How much does their finals experience over, you've got a lot of guys coming to the first campaign, how much does that worry you?
It's a good point, because Sydney certainly play the right way. They play finals style football for the home and away season, so they're certainly ready to play well in September, because they play that way for the whole year. But I think we do that too. I think we play a style that's made for September. Whether we're good enough, we'll have to wait and see, but we think we are.